because it's spring break and I don't feel like changing, you're just gonna have to deal with me in my pajamas, so don't judge me too hard. So I'm reading Slaughterhouse 5 for my book, and the halfway through part is like halfway through chapter 5. So I'll be summarizing chapter 3, 4, and then halfway through 5. And they are roughly broken up into two parts. The first is Billy's time as prisoner in the German army, and we learn about Billy's journey to being a prisoner of war. And basically, he and another member, Ronald Weary, are deserted by two other American soldiers. These two other American soldiers were eventually shot, so it goes. But basically, they were marched and united and with other prisoners of war and sent off in boxcars that were sorted by ranks. And Billy roughly describes these events, and he sees many people die of starvation and hunger, which are the same thing. But anyways, when Billy arrived in Dresden, he was stripped naked and laughed at by the Germans, and he also met some British soldiers who have been there since the beginning of the war. He ends this kind of section, this part, as describing Edgar Derby and how he was shot by a firing squad, and he says, so it goes. The second part includes him being abducted by the Tralfamadorians and basically describes being put into a zoo. He repeatedly restates the fact that these Tralfamadorians see time as one picture, and Earthlings don't understand the concept of time. We're also introduced to other characters such as Billy Pilgrim's wife, who Billy doesn't want to marry because she is ugly. Also Elliot Rosewater, a patient at the veteran hospital Billy stays at. An interesting quote occurs on page 86, and it says, by a Tralfamadorian, it says, all time is all time. It does not change. It does not lend itself to warning or explanations. It simply is. Take it moment by moment, and you will find that we are all, as I've said before, bugs in amber. My prediction was right. We did learn about Billy's time in the army, although it's kind of brief, and we have very little mention of the main climax of the story, the inciting incident of the firebombings in Dresden. We also learned very little about his time in the Tralfamadorians. It just kind of describes him first being abducted and nothing more. I think the bird that says Pooty Wheat will become more significant because it's only mentioned once in this section, but the book ends on this phrase, so I feel like it has a more significant meaning. I also think the author mentioned by Rosewater, Kilgore Trout, is a rough portrayal of Kurt Vonnegut, just because he writes science fiction and Billy describes him as describing the Tralfamadorians, and that's about it.